Live stream of the Mom's Adventure Paradox podcast. And I have had this question percolating for some time. I'm actually sharing with you on my spring break vacation. But the question, which is a good follow-up from the mini-sode that we aired on Monday, which we actually aired about a year ago. So it was a re-air, my first re-air. I don't know if that's the way you're supposed to say that. It's a very popular one, and it is, what did you just say? When you play back what you just said, and this is part of why podcasting is so powerful, you really hear yourself for the first time sometimes, or maybe in a new way. And this is part of why a big tip with life coaching is to take voice notes and then play them back for yourself so that you can really hear yourself and what it is that you are saying. Classic example is the person saying, I want to lose weight, or I hate my job. If you're in that energy, you're also in the energy of scarcity, of lack, of not enough as you are. So beginning to move into who you are becoming. And I'm going to share another tool with you, which is on the other side of that, which is another great life coaching question, which is, what are you not saying? Because sometimes the thing that you're not saying is going to help you get closer to what it is that you are trying to say. So, for example, let's go back to the weight loss question. Maybe what you're trying to say is, I don't feel good enough, which is a classic one that people come back to. There's a lot of shadow work around feeling worthy, feeling deserving, being able to understand the world as it is in places and spaces where we might feel really powerless. I'm thinking right now about two very tragic deaths that happened close to me recently. One I just found out about this morning in the ski community, and my heart goes out to a dear neighbor, and another one, a girl who works for us, her mother, who is a dear friend. And, sometimes we just don't know how much time we have. And when a tragic and sudden loss happens, it really puts things in perspective. So, a quote that I've been meditating on this week is by Wayne Dyer, which is, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. They change. Change your story, change your life is a Tony Robbins t-shirt I have. Sometimes something like a death completely turns our perspective upside down and helps us see what it is that we were not saying. Maybe there was something more that we wanted to do or say with the deceased. I encourage you, and I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here, but to try saying those things, even if someone has passed, even if there is a loved one in your life who you wish you were closer to or you wish things were different with, try just saying those things instead of not saying those things. I think that this is especially important when we're upset or we're working through feelings, understanding that any one feeling is not going to stay with us for more than 20 minutes. Most of them have a lifespan of maybe 2 to 5 minutes. So giving yourself some time to let a feeling change and maybe practice restraint of pen and tongue if you are really upset, to allow yourself to move through that to get to the thing that it really is that you want to say to another person. Because often I think we have this pattern of holding back and not saying something because we don't want to hurt someone's feelings. I'm going to give you a perfect example. I usually don't share about being on vacation in the tropics. It's a pattern that I have, and there are a couple of reasons, all of them, when I play it through, coming back to fears around not feeling good enough. Okay. Not feeling that I deserve it, not feeling worthy, et cetera, et cetera. This particular beach vacation, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to share. We're at the beach. It's beautiful. I think other people will get a lift out of this. And I shared a picture of the beautiful ocean. The color of the water here is just incredible. And the sound of ocean waves. And it's from a recording called, I think, Sounds of Life, because beach waves are sounds of life. Jealousy is a sound of life. Anger, upset, is a sound of life, my friends. Joy, celebration, love, ocean breeze, the desire for ocean breeze. Two people reached out to me directly with the exact same response: jealous. Now, mind you, my community is a couple feet deep in snow, so I totally get it. And my response was, close your eyes, listen to that ocean breeze, and come with me. Because we have a choice about our response when we see something or when we feel something, about what we say or what we don't say. And I actually, that's such a gift. You know who you are if you send me a message like that, or if you're going to send me a message now, and I totally get you. It's the paradox, right? The cold and the heat and going on a vacation or not going on a vacation, right? The adventure paradox. Trust me, we got plenty of our own problems here. And there is this narrative of, if you can go on vacation, then you don't have problems and you can't speak about the joy or your problem. I don't care, right? And I think that that's not a very helpful narrative. And it's something, especially for moms, that we have to look at because, as I said in my book, The Adventure Paradox, how to haul it all, go big and go home, it's going to be hard either way. And so for my partner and I, we've decided we would rather take the ski trip, even if it involves tons of strollers and gear and lots of stressful days, just to get our kids into said ski boots, to have the experience of skiing, to learn the skill and speak the language of skiing, which is a huge part of our family and our connection. It's also going to be hard to sit at home on the couch and watch other people doing that and wish that you could do that. So remembering the things you're saying, starting to hear yourself. And one of my big awakenings was wanting to raise my children in the mountains and recognizing, as much as I love my family, as much as I love the suburbs of Chicago, as grateful as I was for the incredible home and community and friends we had there, it just really wasn't me at the end of the day. It wasn't us. It wasn't where we wanted to be. And for a long time, that was the thing I wasn't saying. I was really focusing on the gratitude and sugarcoating the love and sugarcoating the joy. And sometimes you really need to get to the place of, you know what? This isn't me. This isn't where I belong. And I'll never forget this conversation with my grandfather about a year before he passed, where he was like, yeah, what's up with you guys missing lots of school and not being here as much as the rest of us? And me saying, we're trying to figure out how to live in two different places, but it's really just not us. And we don't belong here. And we are thinking about transitioning. So remember, there might be a transition. I don't know if it's in your job. I don't know if it's in your body. I don't know if it's in finally taking the step to start a podcast. Maybe it's quitting drinking. Whatever it is, I'm going to really encourage you to look at what's underneath that. A lot of people come to me. They see that we have horses. They see that we live in the mountains. They see that we're raising our children that way outside of Jackson Hole. And they're like, I want that, right? Great. Go for it. If you see something that you want, it is proof of concept that that thing exists on this planet. Someone else has it. And if you have the capacity to desire it, I believe that that desire is God-given for you. All you have to do is start talking about it. And talking about it in a way where you begin to move your feet in that direction. I heard about a part of the brain they've just discovered where people who do hard things, hello, I believe Glennon Doyle, thank you for that, hashtag, people who do hard things have a part of the brain that grows bigger. People who don't do those hard things, for example, exercising to the point of not wanting to exercise anymore, and you keep going, you have the discipline, you stay with it. Athletes have a very large part of this particular part of the brain, which we know that the brain is flexible, that it can grow and it can change over time. They have a large part of this brain. People who struggle with obesity or struggle with depression do not have this part of their brain as large. It's smaller. However, if they change their behavior, changed behavior often comes from changing your thinking. The footwork comes next, right? Sometimes we're doing the footwork and we still have the old thoughts, but then they begin to change. It's the thing we're not saying as we start doing something differently. Because when we start doing something differently, we start thinking differently. You see how it's all connected? It's like the cart before the horse or the chicken before the egg, all of those things. That part of the brain grows bigger for those people who change their behavior. And my experience in my body has been going through an exercise and weight loss journey and, gaining a lot of weight with children and losing it. And really in my adolescence, probably with all those hormones, being at my largest and struggling so much with feeling good enough and feeling like I was okay, just as I was, because there are a lot of messages in our culture that can tell you you're not okay. It's not okay for you to talk about this. So you shut down and you live this smaller version of yourself, not talking. The number of women who I believe are listening to this podcast right now were just dying to start a podcast. It's that little inkling back there. They're like, I want to do this, but who am I? Who am I to say something? What do I have to say? Why would I speak on this? And I'm going to ask you the Marianne Williamson question. Who are you not to? Who are you not to? Step into the best version of yourself. I don't know what happens when we die. I really don't. I did a whole series on life and death, asking people this question, talking to death doulas, talking to pastors, talking to so many incredible people. And what I can tell you is, even with all I know from connecting with all of these amazing speakers, I still don't really know that I know what happens. You know why? Because I haven't been there. I don't know. I don't know. What I do know is that we have today. We have today, and the power is in the next chapter. Whatever is going to come after this day, based on whatever we do or do not say. So often we can get hung up on what did you just say? And it echoes. I was thinking about my first breakups. Do you remember that? I was an adolescent and I just remember thinking, I will never forget this feeling. I'll never get over this. Oh my God. And now, having been through many other breakups, sometimes where I broke up with them or they broke up with me, and, you get to the place of recognizing this was just a life experience. And now that I'm in my mid 40s, I can say, this is just a life experience. And the things I'm not saying, yeah, there are some things I am not talking about yet. Why? Often out of respect for the situation, feeling it's not my story to tell, like who exactly died and their relationship to me. But I can share, because it is my story, my experience of loss and trauma. And each time it lights up different things in the brain and takes you back to that space, just like going back to that workout and having to work through hard things. You got to work through it. For some people, talking about it is the way. Opening up your voice is the way to move through it and find yourself and share with others. This is the way. That's not true for everybody. For me, it takes a lot of work to be disciplined, to stay in my lane. If I say I'm going to do something and follow through with it. For example, right now I'm recording a podcast. I'm in a house with a lot of different people. It was hard to find a space where I wouldn't get interrupted. And then I realized that even though I found the space, if I didn't lock the door, I don't know if you just heard that clicking, people would just kind of pop in and it would interrupt my flow, and I would work with it. I would go with it, but I could also lock the door to hold this space, to hold this connection, to hold this silence. The same is true with my cell phone, which, if you're watching on Facebook, is right over here, face down, away from me, on silent. Although I think I just heard a beep and maybe it's not on silent. But the point is, I am not looking at that while I am channeling wisdom and connecting with you through this podcast, through this really important thought and connection in this spring break minisode. And you know what, guys? I am not perfect. This is part of why I love podcasting, is because the energy is so alive. Like, human beings are so alive, and we forget to take a moment to really listen and talk to each other and hear something all the way through. I've been listening a lot to Kate Northrup. I'm going to drop some links in here. And a guest who was on our podcast, Sarah Tangretti, who's incredible. And I've been listening to some of the wisdom around money and issues around money. And I know a lot of people have issues around podcasting, the money it might cost to podcast, the time it might cost. Do you get the return? All of those questions. I would love to answer these questions for you. If you have them, please email my team, theadventureparadox@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. But I've been thinking a lot, and she's the one who shared the Wayne Dyer quote about when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change, about how we think about money, how we think about power. And when you speak, when you get up and share, you're vulnerable. Brene Brown, right? The credit goes to the one in the arena because so many people are sitting on the sidelines at the rodeo and they do not have the balls, the experience, the interest, the tenacity, the grit to actually go out and do what those guys and gals are doing in the arena. They just want to sit on the sidelines and judge. And social media is totally like that. It's so interesting. Why do we give other people so much power? Or even more importantly, our own inner critic. When I was learning to paraglide, one of my best paragliding instructors is also the ski patrol. I admit I had a crush on him at the time. He said to me, Kat, you are your own worst critic. And I understood for the first time. Here I am learning something, trying. And I'm watching these kiteboarders here in the Caribbean going back and forth. And the credit goes to them. Some of them are falling down. Their kites, whack, hitting the ocean. It's really hard to get it up, keep it up, and get your board on and put the whole thing together. But you know what? I have no idea. You know why? Because I am not the one out there trying to do it. I'm not doing it. I'm watching from the shore. The credit goes to the one on the ocean trying to figure out how to kiteboard or showing us what's possible. These pros just zoom, 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 little backflip up in the air. Did you see that? Like, whoa, this is so cool. This is so cool. And speaking of, I am going to look at my phone because I do have another meeting in 5 minutes. So quick time check. I have so many more mic drops I want to share with you this week. But this was a little house cleaning on my notes here. And I think going back to the perfectionism thing, I want to close with this because it's important to remember that you're not perfect. And just getting out there and trying, do it messy. Kathy Heller always says, just go. You're good. You got this, my friends. Stop being so hard on yourself. If you don't have people judging you, if you don't have critics, if you don't have folks in your family just hating on you for what you're doing, you're probably not really stepping into the arena. If everybody loves you, some people probably aren't really telling you what they really think about you. And that's okay. You do you. You keep going. But what are you not saying? And what are they not saying is what I want to know. And is it coming from perfectionism? Is it coming from something else? Are you playing small? What are you not saying? And why? And when will you say it? What will need to happen? Does someone need to die for you to say that thing? Why are you holding out? Please go say it. Please go find that person. Text them right now. Give them a hug. Reach out. Even when there are no words, even when you have no idea what to say. Maybe you should say something. And there's a time for saying nothing. You do you. I don't know what's right for you, but I do think that there is power in this question. So I hope you'll take it into your walk today. I love you so much. I wish you a beautiful spring break. I thank you, thank you, thank you for listening today. And we'll be back next week with more. Take care.